September is shaping up to be one of the most active astrological months of 2025. Before the Sun and Mercury go into Virgo, we have a full moon lunar eclipse, we have Mars going into Libra, and we also have a powerful Sun-Saturn opposition at the end of the month. Also, we have Jupiter, who's going to stay in Gemini, expanding our search for the truth, and Saturn is going to remain retrograde in Pisces, continuing to restructure our boundaries and where we apply control in our life, and really where we control our perception of reality. And so in this video, I'm going to walk you through all of these changes and where to focus your energies based on your ascendant. We have the waxing period of the moon, and this is the final week of the Leo lunar cycle, which began on August 23rd. And so you may be feeling like you're making progress at this time. You may still be feeling motivated and hopeful, and things are starting to come to a peak. You may be starting to see results in the house where Leo is in your chart. So for instance, if Leo is in your third house, this may have been a time that's requiring a lot of effort, a lot of willpower. It may have brought up themes with your siblings. And if it's in your fourth house, then it's going to be more related to home and your emotional connections, and maybe even themes of your peace of mind. And if it's been in your sixth house, if Leo's been in your sixth house, then this is going to be about maybe a new daily routine or a health routine or exercise that you've been into. So whatever it is, this first week of September is going to be where things are continuing to increase and grow and develop. On September 7th, we have a full moon lunar eclipse in Aquarius, opposing the sun in Leo. And so this is really a culmination of the past 2 weeks. So it may feel like you have reached your goal. You may feel accomplished in that regard. It may feel like you're reaching another level, or you're sealing the deal, and you will have the full light of the moon to guide you through this process, and it's going to light up and illuminate everything that you have been working on. And this is really where the mind is in a position to reflect. So you're reflecting on the Leo house from the perspective of your Aquarius house. And this is the Leo Aquarius axis. So you might want to ask yourself, how are things going? Are there any changes that need to be made? What's working? What's not working? And full moons are also a time for celebration. So if you've reached your goal, now is a time to celebrate and reflect on your achievements. For the collective energies, this is on the 511 axis. So this is regarding validation, acceptance, themes of influence and inspiration and expectations, fitting in with the crowd or shining above the rest. This is about creating and sharing. In the energy, that dynamic force that flows between these two signs is about being yourself or being someone else. And so that's really the theme here, and to think about that in relation to the houses that are activated based on your ascendant. Now, this Leo is dealing with the elements of fire and air. So Leo is a fire sign, Aquarius is an air sign, and this is about playing by the rules, either playing by your own rules or the rules of society. See, Leo is the individual, while Aquarius is setting the rules of someone else, of the culture or the surrounding environment that you're in. K2 during this lunar eclipse is in Leo, right? K2 is a shadow planet. It deals with your subconscious and themes of detachment, and K2 cuts out, right? It's in the name, K2, cut out. And Leo is about that individual expression. It's ruled by the sun. The sun indicates your soul, and your soul is your consciousness. Now, opposing this is Rahu in Aquarius, so Moon and Rahu are joined. And Rahu is where we're seeking power and control of the masses. There's some sort of theme here because Aquarius is dealing with that collective energy, and Rahu is that insatiable force that wants more, desires it all, it wants nothing but power. Leo and Aquarius is also dealing with themes of Dharma and Kama. So this is about balancing what you stand for and what you're willing to sacrifice in order to feel happiness. Eclipses really have this power to course correct, and it really depends on the house that it's activating. You might feel compelled to change, or that change will happen beyond your control, whether you're trying to resist it. Either way, that change is on the horizon whenever there's an eclipse. So if there's something that's been egging you on in the back of your mind, or that you feel like you should be doing or haven't done yet, that's going to come into the forefront, and it may feel like a forced situation. Now, after the full moon, we enter the waning period, and this is when the light of the moon is diminishing. So you may be wrapping up a project, and it's time of internalizing your experiences. It may feel more emotional, and this is a reflective time, right? Because the moon is now opposed the sun, and it's on its journey towards reapproaching the sun. But during this time, it can be about reflecting on the past and maybe how to improve upon that project you were working on or that goal that you had. And also self-doubt can start to creep in during this time. You may feel deflated, like especially if that you didn't reach that success that you were looking for, that you had hoped for. And this is also a time where you're maybe lacking new ideas or even the motivation to continue on. And this is a period really about knowing when to push harder and when to back off. And so what you need to do in order to achieve the results you desire, that's this time now in this waning period. So Leo and Aquarius axis, this is coming to the end of a cycle, and we want to look at where the Leo house is in your chart and ask yourself, what cycle is completing for you, right? This happens every month, the lunar cycle ends, but when we have these eclipses, it really does accelerate the progress, and it's something to reflect on and make sure that you are on the right path, because it's going to course correct you out of your will almost. And usually when you have control over something, it's easier to do it versus something being forced upon you, and then it feels like something's being taken away from you instead of you consciously letting go of it, right? On September 10th, we have a Sun K2 conjunction opposing Rahu, and this is an exact conjunction when the degrees are exact. We're in this waning energy of the lunar cycle, and the exact alignment of the sun with the lunar nodes is a very karmic time. And this is really a culmination point because these energies have been building up over the last week, and things might feel like they're fated, or destiny has come, or maybe it's a very serendipitous event, but something deeply psychological is taking place following this lunar eclipse, and it's particularly in your Aquarius and Leo houses. Now, Sun is going to be hemmed between K2 and Mars. And at this time, Mercury is really close to the Sun. And so this is a highly combustible position for Mercury, meaning it's very close to the Sun. And so this can impact your nervous system. It can cause frustration, nervousness, agitation, maybe just feelings of uneasiness when Mercury is so incredibly close to the sun. There can actually be really significant epiphanies during this time because you may have these aha moments, but you want to be careful with how you communicate and express your thoughts, because this is in Leo, the sign of your personal expression. We've got Mercury here, which is obviously your communication and how you talk and think and write, and basically all of these things are coming together. And when Mercury is so close to the sun, it really heats things up, and it can actually be like a blind spot. If you think about whenever something is so incredibly bright, you can't see clearly. So there is that as well. Now, the energies are going to be amplified, so your thoughts and your desires can be more intense in general. And because the sun is the karaka of authority and government and leadership, it's something is coming to a head regarding people in authority. And also the power of the people, right? Because that's Rahu and Aquarius. And really just humanity at large. There's something coming to a head, something that's going to be fast forwarded and pushed through. On September 11th through the 12th, we have a really tight Mercury K2 conjunction. So all of this is happening very close within the same few days. And this period also includes Mars getting ready to change signs. So whenever a planet is on that cusp of a sign, the energies are really unreliable. If we think about Mercury's transits, they're really quick. So again, it's really that lead up period to Mercury conjuncting with K2 and the sun that can feel the most influence. So it's going to be really these first few weeks of September. But the actual day of the conjunction can actually be that culmination event. It can bring up some unreliable actions based on that Mars in that limbo period between Virgo and Libra. And Mars represents your focus. So your focus could be affected. There could be some mixed signals of what action to take, of what you need to do. And there's this blend of that controlled energy of Virgo transitioning into those more accommodating energies of Libra. So you may be wanting to take an action, but you may be hesitating, wondering what someone else is going to think about it. On September 14th, we have Mars entering into Libra, and this is significant. It's going to form a 6-8 relationship with Saturn. Mars in Libra is not particularly strong. It is in an enemy sign. It doesn't really like Libra because there's all of that hesitation, that indecisiveness that Libra can bring, trying to balance a situation, and Mars just wants to go. It just wants to act. Mars is in Libra going to be receiving that fifth aspect from Jupiter. So really there's that expansion piece, there's that growth aspect going on, and Jupiter's aspect is a blessing. So this is good. It's going to be a bit of saving grace because Mars is going to be in that 6th-8 position with Saturn. And this is really challenging when there's two malefic planets in this aspect. So during this time, you can expect some pushback, some confrontation, and delays that are regarding the matters of your Libra and your Libra and Pisces house. Now, on this same day, Mars is entering Libra and Venus changes signs into Leo. Now, this means that Venus has been Gandanta, and so there could be some sort of karmic knot that's needed to be untied or dealt with over the last few days regarding relationships specifically. Now, the fires of Leo can be pretty intense for Venus because Venus is naturally associated with the water element. And water represents flow and creativity, and these things could dry up in Leo if there's an imbalance. Because see, Leo is a very creative sign. There's inspiration there. So really, it's all about that balance between fire and water. Too much can dry it up. Too much fire could dry up the water. Too much water could drown out the fire and the inspiration. Now, Venus transits always bring beauty and ease into the house that it's transiting. And in Leo, this is bringing up desires for love and affection. See, the nature of Leo is to create and present those creations for others to see. And in return, Leo will sit back and enjoy that attention and admiration that it gets. So Venus, being the planet of love and relationships, in Leo can create drama and passion in that Leo house, and especially in regards to relationships in that house. And relationships will feel this energy the most. It'll feel that fire intensity. So there may be this need for more affection and becoming more passionate at this time. Relationships becoming more passionate. Maybe even having more romance, especially if you are an Aries ascendant. So Venus in Leo can also be a very loyal and generous time, or it can be attention-seeking and demanding. So on 9/15, Mercury enters Virgo, and this is going to last until October 3rd. So for about 2.5 weeks, Mercury is exalted in Virgo, and this is fantastic for all things involving communication, writing, speaking, debating, singing, thinking, problem solving. And wherever Virgo is in your chart, it's a great time to really get stuck into the details. There is an exception though, because Saturn is in Pisces, and so Neptune is also there. And Saturn's energy opposing Mercury will bring a really orderly and focused attention on creating projects really slowly and methodically, about creating systems and routines. And Saturn is going to challenge them with limitations and trying to set boundaries and being uber practical. And this will be a slow process because Mercury likes to move fast, so it's going to feel even slower than usual with that pressure of Saturn. Now, Neptune's influence on Mercury can create some mysterious challenges, right? There could be this inability to see the solution. And it may be a time where you're asked to disregard logic altogether and just really trust the process. That's very much that Virgo Pisces axis. Now, on September 16th, we get Sun moving into Virgo. So it's leaving that presence or that influence of the nodes, and it's going into Virgo. So there's going to be focus and awareness on matters of health, on matters that require detail and precision. And this solar cycle is going to be purifying our need for control. And it's going to be trying to bring a balance between that order and chaos, that need for freedom and that need for management of daily life, and also between your healthy choices and your escapist tendencies. These are things that are going to be brought up during that 30-day Sun in Virgo cycle. So things might feel more anxious and demanding as we wrap up this waning cycle with the moon and the sun, and this Sun-Saturn opposition is tightening, right? Now that Sun's in Virgo, it's also going to be opposing Saturn, and we're in that waning period, so things cannot feel as hopeful or motivating. So on September 21st, we have that Sun and Saturn opposition and a new moon in Virgo. This is going to be a very powerful new moon lunar cycle in Virgo on the axis of control and surrender. New moons are about new intentions, right? Setting new goals and aspirations. And Saturn is really putting the pressure on trying to restructure your Pisces house, where you want to have flow and where you tend to be more nonchalant about things. And that Sun-Saturn opposition, they're both naturally opposing forces. They're enemies with each other. So when they oppose each other in the sky, there is a very strong magnetic pull on both ends of this axis between control and surrender. To find that balance, you want to find the common ground between this axis. And because Pisces and Virgo are both feminine signs, and they're also both dual signs, so there is this flexibility, this adaptability, this ability to receive and flow. And neither sign is really about taking actions in a direct way. It's more passive. It's about controlling what you can and then letting go of what you need to let go of, trying not to manage what's ultimately out of your power. And I feel like this energy is really about just being, not necessarily doing, but just being, and allowing is going to be the energy that's going to help you balance, especially if you're starting to feel that pressure or that need to control everything. Because really, too much effort in this axis can really backfire. And the Sun-Saturn opposition is bringing this theme into focus. So Saturn's been there. We've had Mars transiting through Virgo. We've had Mercury transiting through Virgo. But now we have the Sun there really lighting up this house, bringing everything into full focus. And also Neptune's influence is more on that collective level, but it's opposing the Sun as well. And so this could bring in some more heightened intuition, maybe even more psychic powers that are intensified during this period. There's definitely a heightened sensitivity for those that are empathetic and those that are more in tune with the light energies. So real quick, if you are a fire or air ascendant, this is Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. This Sun in Virgo is activating your Artha Moksha houses. And so this cycle is going to be about effort, about holding on, about letting go. These are going to be the prominent themes over the next 30 days or so while we have the Sun in Virgo, and then we have that new moon there as well. So we've got these new cycles starting. And trust is going to be needed to gain balance between your physical desires and your spiritual needs. Now, if you are an earth or a water ascendant, so this is Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, this is going to be activating a Dharma Kama axis for you. And these are cycles of fulfillment and happiness. Trust is needed to gain balance between your individuality and your relationships, who you are truthfully and who you are based on your relationships. The people you surround yourself with are ultimately that reflection of what you consider to be the truth. So that's it. That's the monthly forecast outlook astrological report for September 2025. If you've stuck around this long, thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video.